Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the American Investor Show. Please click subscribe if this is your first time listening. From trader and CEO interviews to breaking news about companies you won't hear anywhere else, nobody does a better job at keeping you in the know when it comes to penny stocks. The term penny stock generally refers to a security issued by a very small company that trades at less than $5 per share. Penny stocks are extremely risky, yet they offer rates of return on investment not seen anywhere else. The host, guest, and callers are not registered financial advisors licensed by any government entity, and therefore, the following should be considered entertainment. The host, guest, and callers disclaim all liability in the event any information, commentary, analysis, opinions, advice, and/or recommendations prove to be inaccurate, incomplete, or unreliable, or result in any investment losses. Before investing in penny stocks, you should consult a professional to determine what strategy may be best for your individual needs. Now, without further ado, your host, Tsla Nungu.
Yes, what's going on, everyone? I hope you enjoyed the holiday break. I know we got also some kids on spring break right now, but I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the bear market. This is what the beginning of a bear market looks like. Ladies and gentlemen, today we suffered the worst first day of the second quarter since the Great Depression. I'm not, that's facts. You can Google that. And I want to take all the credit in the world by explaining the fact that I was the guy who gave you the alert last week. I told you real estate will tell you beforehand. I told you that there were going to be dip fires last week, which was Thursday. We said they were going to dip buy, and they got overwhelmed today. Yeah. We're going down, folks. We're going down. This synthetic bull market is over. All right, we're the wealthy, they're selling out. They're calling their brokers. They're cashing out. The only people buying the dips here, you're just a fool, at this point. There was a guy today on Twitter. He posted his purchase, and I think he went and bought the 175 calls. The 175 calls for May. He's an idiot. It's not happening. If you've been following my Twitter, I posted some interesting news that I learned, or called the TED rate, which is the difference between Treasury bills and the LIBOR. And when that spread widens, that means liquidity is drying up. That means it's getting harder for banks to borrow in between each other, and Treasury is lowering what they need, what they're paying for interest. And I want you guys to do some research on that yourself, because I'm not yet skilled enough to explain it, but I'm getting it myself. But it's a really interesting and telling signal that can tell you that we're entering a very, very bearish sign of the times. Shout out to all the people coming into the trading room. Dr. Butterfly, what's up? Patrice Jameson, Ken, what's going on, Ken? A Ranger, Random Stock Run, Matthew Swanson, Gucci, Moneybags, Gold Hill Trader, Art Lord, Stockafellow, what's up? Who else is in here? Jim Gray, Desert Edge. All right. Mike, Corey Kwan, Redneck Trader, Terry Cherry. Shout out to all the people watching as well, now and in the future. And, when we look at the Qs, here's the daily chart. We're right there, right? We're right there at the 200 moving average. We're right there, but I'm not even looking at the daily. I'm looking at where the weekly is. Because the weekly, ladies and gentlemen, today crossed beneath the 50 RSI. Crossed beneath the 50 RSI. And that was the first real successful cross. I don't want to count this one. I don't even want to count that one. But I want to go back to this 2015 level. I want to go back to this 2015 level. Now, here's the thing. If the Fed comes out and says, hey, we're going to stop with the Fed rate increases, right? If we're going to come back and print more cheap money, which they're already doing, but if they said we're going to accelerate that, things could change, right? Things can change. But right now, going with the status quo, and some may say I'm jumping the gun by calling it a bear market, but you got to understand, just as I heard on a great podcast today with Peter Schiff, he explained how bear markets aren't called bear markets until typically 2 quarters of poor performance. So bear markets aren't even realized until, for most traders, it's too late. They've already been losing money substantially. And now the media says, hey, this is a bear market. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we're in a bear market. What I'm saying to you, and what I'm trying to get across, is that you don't have to wait to that point. On my website, advancedequityresearch.com, I've already put out quite a few articles giving you guys exchange-traded funds that you guys can trade just as you've already been trading stock, that give you the opportunity to benefit, to profit as the stock market goes down. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go through the day and your tickers. All right? Let me make sure I'm logged in here. I am. You guys already know what the call-in line is. You already know what the call-in line is. There it is, 305-600-2896. Let me put myself up here. 305-600-2896. Shout out to the people coming slowly into the building. And again, if we look at the cues, the group that got us here, we're a long ways away from that 200 moving average. 646, I know this is Ken. What's going on, man?
So you talked about the TED rate, and this guy, I don't know if I've sent you these tweets from this guy, Silky. He keeps saying that the the banks are not lending to each other. It's the lowest level since 1973 when we had that 50% correction in the stock market. Thoughts on that?
Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised because, again, it's all being calculated in that TED rate. And I want guys to do their own research on that because I'm not yet proficient enough to explain it to others. But that goes back into the fact that we are seeing liquidity drying up. So it's becoming very hard for private money or banks to get access to cheap cash. The banks are starting to hoard money. So if you're someone of substantial wealth, what you do here is you take money off the table. So you have institutions selling or institutions just not buying these dips. And that's exactly what's happening. And that's why stock prices are going live. People are cashing out. They're up huge. They're cashing out and they're seeing what's going to happen. And not only that, we're seeing evidence of global growth slowing down. So we've got a lot of people who are convinced that, hey, we're going to be saved by, earnings numbers that are going to be coming out next month. But what if that doesn't happen? What if, Caterpillar misses? What if Microsoft misses? What if, Bank of America misses? SunTrust misses? So we can't bet it all on earnings. We have to understand that it's a macro situation where all of them have to be, bullish in tandem. And unfortunately, we're seeing signs as we had on this latest jobs report. Slowing jobs. Most of the jobs were MIC jobs, right? No benefits, no 401k, no real health care. So we're seeing the economy slowing down, and I think now we're seeing it eventually now showing in the stock market as well.
But short term, since we're at the 200-day moving average on the SPY and the DIA, don't you think we can get a 3-5% bounce in the next few days and then go much lower? I mean, that's the way it seems to always work.
Oh yeah. I think you can get dip buyers as soon as tomorrow. Look, you got the pundits on TV, Ken, who are still telling people to buy, to telling people, hey, you can grab some great opportunities right now on Facebook, and some of them even saying Tesla is a deal right here. Yes, I still think there's some green days left, but I want to believe, and I believe that the high has already been set, and that 280, what is that, 280 back on March 13th. I think that 280 was our high. You could probably go back as far. Oh no, in fact, let me go back further. That 286, that we got on January January 25th. I think that was our high of 2018, and I don't think we're going to see that again this year. But yes, can you get a 3% bounce? Can you get a 5% bounce over the next maybe week and a half? I think so, but I don't think it lasts. I don't think it's something that you're going to be able to set it and forget it. You see what I'm saying?
Right, and people should be more excited because the bear market, the market goes down much faster than it goes up. So with these inverse funds that you're talking about, there's some really great money-making opportunities.
Right, it's a great money opportunity, and we're really getting back to, a stock picker's market. Those days of just being able to, ride the SPY or the Qs or, XLF or something like XRT or something, whatever that is. Those days are gone. Now you're going to actually have to look at fundamentals again, look at, the overall, sector and find out who the real stars are and who the losers that are going to be continuing to lose value throughout the year.
Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, can we talk a stock? I don't own this. I made money. FUSZ. They came out with the 10K after the close. Did you have a chance to take a look at it? It was pretty crappy.
Yeah, I didn't take a look at it, but I'm not surprised. I mean, it's an OTC stock, so it's not going to be very pretty. What did they state for cash, Ken?
What was that? How much cash they have on hand?
What did they state for cash? Did you, or I can pull it up.
I didn't look at it carefully enough. I mean, they have few million. They do have some cash, but I'm a little concerned with the what's it called? The shares outstanding, and that they increased it to 200 million shares. I might have read it wrong, but it's out there. So there's a person, the engineer, who calls into the show. Maybe he's in the chat room. He can elaborate more than I.
Well, that's kind of danger zone territory, Ken, when we're talking about these kind of levels and having that much of a float out there, or outstanding rather. So that's very telling. It doesn't mean it can't go up, right? I mean, you had mentioned the fact that it has a significant amount of insider ownership. So if the float is significantly held by insiders and they're holding and going to continue to hold, then you have a possibility of this going higher now. But that is scary, knowing that there is 200 outstanding that they could possibly dump on you, right? That's something to be concerned about regardless. But I'm seeing here.
I don't want to give misinformation. I know that the CEO is putting out a video in the next hour, this hour, to explain the 10K, explain it in detail, which is kind of cool. And it depends how the market reacts to it tomorrow. That's what's going to be key. And we'll see what happens. You got that investor conference on Monday in at the Essex House in the city, and then on the 24th of April, they have that NetSuite conference in Las Vegas with Oracle. So. It'll be interesting. The chart's still intact, and just got to see how it plays out.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. If he puts it out on YouTube, let me know. I'll download it and play it here on the show for traders. But FUSZ. Other than that, man, we'll keep watching it, bro. That's all we can do from here.
That's all we can do. Anything else going on? Can you take a look at FRFS? Frank Sam, pretty strong little penny stock in this crappy market, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a stock that's been a runner in the past. It spikes up, doesn't really hold gains, but it's doing a lot better job recently. And FRFS, I remember this being a pump not too long ago, Ken, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And I think you were in on this one, weren't you?
I was. Remember, I told you I was in under a penny. It went up to 7 cents. Not bad.
Yeah.
And then it's just been coming down. It came down, but it's coming back. And the volume. Supposedly they're merging with this other company, GIFA, which is that's the petty stock playbook.
Okay.
Could it go to 20, 30 cents? It could. It's a small float, about 160 million shares.
Yeah, look, if the pump is there, they're paying for ads, they're getting in front of investors who like to trade and willing to take risk. The sky's the limit. That's what it is, man.
Exactly. And one more, AKER. They had their earnings out this morning. They have a conference call in the morning on AKER. Stock was strong in a weak market today. It's been a beautiful play this year, from 16 cents in January, and now it's at 84 cents.
Yeah, doing what it can to stay above the 200 moving average, and decent day today, 1% gain. I'll give it to a 2% gain. And look, it's a small cap stock, so it's not going to be really affected too much by the macroeconomic environment. So it could be a stock that can find itself heading and touching one, as long as the fat lady doesn't sing for AKER. Right now, things are looking good.
They are. They really, really are. And just getting back on the ETF, the TBIX and UVXY, we spoke about them last week, and look at the moves on those VIX, those 20%.
Yeah, that was a really interesting move today on the VIX, and I mean it got to as high as 12. I mean, I watched it today. It got to as high as 12 on the VIX. In fact, if I put the 5-minute chart on, and I don't know if Bill Betts is in the chat room or not, but we traded the VIX buying a huge position in the 940s on Thursday, and I fully expected China to come back and really retaliate hard on our tariff announcement. So that's exactly what they did, and we saw the market respond accordingly. But beyond tariffs, this is again a market that's selling off due to high valuations and slowing economic growth.
It really is, and just getting back to the market, with the few tech leaders that were holding up the Nasdaq, the Facebook's cracked, Tesla's cracked. I mean, it's getting a little scary.
Yeah, well, Facebook is already in a bearish. I mean, that thing is just dropping like a rock. It's got its own story. Then we had Tim Cook come after Zuck today. I mean, I think this weekend that was really interesting, because he really doesn't have any business kind of talking about it. So that was kind of weird. How that kind of came out of nowhere. So Tesla with their CEO doing some really stupid move for April Fools. Pretending like the company was bankrupt and he was homeless. That was pretty funny.
Whatever.
But other than that, yeah, man. I mean, these stocks
Amazon
took us. Yeah, Amazon, Google. They're
Jeff
all
Bezos, and Trump is criticizing him. He hates his newspaper. It's below 13.50. I mean, wow. They're all cracking.
And it could go lower. I mean, again, 200 is at 12.11, and I don't see why 12.11, can't be broken down. If I'm one of you guys in the chat room who are looking for an opportunity to profit here, if you can't, afford, going out and look at possibly a vertical, look at, some maybe even something with a little bit of time on it, not necessarily a year out, but maybe a month out or 2 months out that you can afford, I think those get hit and you find yourself in the money, at least in the short term.
Definitely. And interesting, this weekend you had Bitcoin cracking again, going down to 6,300 at the low, and just funny how that, I don't know if it's tied to the market, but it's interesting how that came down hard in the market.
I don't know what else to say about Bitcoin anymore. I mean, at this point, look, how far did you really expect trading real money for fake money could go? I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. And you got some guys who are calling this a buying opportunity here as we're touching some of those February lows. And it's holding it, but I think you crack below lower because Bitcoin is an old technology. And again, I think if you just really believe in crypto and you really believe the story there, you've got to find another cryptocurrency that's all about privacy, that's all about keeping your data away from prying eyes, particularly government. I don't think it's in Bitcoin. I don't think that second, hoorah that we will see in cryptocurrency will be, Litecoin. It's not going to be Litecoin. It's not going to be Bitcoin. It's not going to be Bitcoin Cash. It's not going to be any of those. It's going to be something that we aren't talking about right now.
One more thing. LFIN, and we had brought that to the show. Remember that move from like 35 up to 70, and in the last week it's gone from 70 down to, I think it's 14 now. That would have been some amazing put opportunity.
Well, yeah. I mean, it would have been a great put opportunity. It would have been a great shorting opportunity if there were shares out there. But
right.
not much is available at all. And I have a feeling those institutions are holding that. And, there's still quite a bit of shorts out there to take advantage of. But Elfin, look, the company came out on TV a couple months ago and said, the CEO said out of his mouth his company's worth $5. So, 72 to 14, the institutional money was all over it. I have no doubt about it. And, unfortunately, the pajama traders like us, we weren't able to get shares to short on a great opportunity there. But there's some other stocks out there you can take advantage of. INFN is one of them. I think this is cracking any day now. There are a few other stocks out there that are on some real interesting highs that I think will be cracking here soon.
Maybe even Netflix too. Well, Netflix, yeah. I know
absolutely.
Yep. Enjoy. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Ken. Thank you, bro.
All right.
Yes, indeed. That's Ken with the call. Netflix too. Yeah, Netflix has still got a lot of meat on that bone. Netflix down 5% today. 5% on Netflix. This is insane. I remembered like yesterday, guys, buying the 200 calls on Netflix, right? We came in starting the year at 189, 190. I remember guys, Sal, should I buy the 200 call on Netflix? Ended up getting to as high as 340. 90 days later, you were $140, $150 in the money on your $200 call. Insane. 181, what's that? 862, you're on the air. What's up?
Yeah, hey, it's Redneck Trader.
Hey, what's going on with you, man?
I got one for you tonight. It's SLS. They just came out with some news today with combining two medications to stop the reoccurrence of breast cancer.
Yeah, that was a huge mover on black box stocks. I think it caught it actually pre-market. It opened up, dipped a little bit. Let me show you the 5-minute. Opened up, dipped a little bit, and then just found its rhythm and just really took off. This one you really had to kind of be on it. You had to actually get the alert, or else you really couldn't get a real opportunity on it unless you're just good like that. But SLS, nice move. Quite a bit of movement pre-market. So I know a lot of guys kind of turned their back on it, but opened up and ran. And shout out to everybody who took advantage of that SLS.
You ain't kidding. Possibly be a big short tomorrow.
Yes, it could. Yeah, I mean 150%. What is that? 150 that it settled on. Yeah, I mean guys have a tendency to overbuy, these kind of announcements when we're talking about cancer drugs. So, be careful because there's always a chance for a squeeze, right? We were surprised by that ticker RKDA a couple weeks ago where we had another kind of similar, not pharmaceutical, this was agricultural, but another kind of stock that had a low float, was relatively cheap, but then continued to run for quite a number of days. So you can always get caught flat-footed if you run in too quick to short one of these because these can continue to go higher.
Right, yeah. I hear you on that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what else you got for us?
That's it. That's all I had. I just wanted to call up and talk about that and see what you thought about that breast cancer.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call.
All right. Take it easy.
Yes, indeed. Redneck Trader, appreciate you, man, for the call. Out of 862, appreciate you. SLS killed it. Yeah, great call by SLS. Matthew said Netflix was a big surprise to you. Yeah, I mean, it was an earnings killer, but at the end of the day, the market is the market, and when guys are selling, anybody can be a victim. Anybody can be a victim. And here is Netflix, again, 135 is that 200 moving average. That's the weekly. All right, get back to that daily chart. We're getting a little bit closer, 222. And again, Nobody's given me a reason why we can't hit 222, 221.36, where it's at now, over the next couple weeks. Over the next couple weeks. All right. And this could be a short thing, right? This could only be a week and a half. And, but are we going to have 2017 again? I don't think so. And I don't honestly think that would be healthy. And I honestly don't think that would be healthy to see another 2017 again. All right? Because when we look at, the SPY, if we look at, the Qs, and you look at some of these monthly charts, this kind of looks like Bitcoin a little bit, man. We had gotten up there. So it's time for us to go through a little bit of pain. It's not too many losing months since 2012. That's a lot of green here, a lot of green months. A lot of people up a lot of money playing these ETFs over the last several years. And again, you don't have to miss out on profit just because the market is selling off. Get yourself into some of these inverse ETFs, and we'll go over them again in just a bit. NVIDIA is another huge move, 4% down today. All right, 4% down today. I saw a slight recovery kind of starting towards the end of the day. Let me look at the 5-minute. Yes, toward the end of the day, we saw some buying, but I think those guys get overwhelmed tomorrow. I think maybe in the morning you have a push or at least an attempt, but I think they get overwhelmed tomorrow. That's why I'm looking for some of those VIX low 10s or even high 9s tomorrow. If they even dare if we see TVIX 980, 990 TVIX, I'm going to be all over it. 970s. Anything in the 9s is going to be a buy and hold. Easy profit. PayPal, buds. All right. Wow, you put PayPal and buds in the same. PayPal, yeah, PayPal. If you remember PayPal, we were talking about the 85s not too long ago. All right, but PayPal is another one, man. Again, this has been a huge winner for a long time. When we talk about PayPal, look at PayPal. I mean, this has been a big winner for a long time when we talk about PayPal. Now, it hasn't been public for very long, but since it has been public, it's been a really great stock to trade. They're a great business, though. It is a great business. And most of us in here have used it. What's going on, Monk? All right. Bought some S-Style today, over $1 a share. That's what's up. S-Style is a good one. All right. S-Style is a really good ETF. It's that Ultra Port Dow 30. All right. S-Style. That's a good ETF to buy, too. Again, that goes up when the Dow 30 goes down. That's a good ETF to trade. I think you can, I think there's a more leveraged one. Because I think S-Dow is 2x leveraged, if I'm correct. You can go with a 1x leveraged, which I think is, yes, Dog. Dog is your 1x. S-Dow is your 2x. I think there is a 3x. There is a 3x, but it's not coming off the top of my head. So DOG is another way to play S-Dow with a little less volatility. 1545 is the ticker. And again, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. I mean, some guys, well, it's not as cheap as a penny. I get it, but 4% on your money is 4% on your money. 2%, 3%, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. If you're significantly invested in that, that's gain is a gain. And definitely check out what's it called, Compound Daily, I believe the website is, and understand how compound gains can significantly change your portfolio. Getting that 2%, that 1%, that 3, that 4, that 5 every single day it can have a huge, huge change in the size of your portfolio over time. You don't always have to hit the home runs. Appreciate you, Tony. Yeah, there's Dog, there's S-Dial. Going into the Qs, because I'm more of a Qs guy. So going into the Qs, there's, I think, SDS. Yeah, there's SDS. Right? Oh, no, SDS, no. Hold on. Now I think SDS is that. Actually, I'm getting confused here. The SDS is that I want to say is another Dow, but this is the S&P 500 as a total. So I gave you the 30, but that's SDS is S&P 500 as a total. Let me pull up my list here. Hold on. All right. I'm going to give you my list here. So you can play QID, all right? QID is one, and QID is, I want to say 2x leveraged. QID is 2x leveraged. So you playing the QQQs, the one I showed you, right? That is up quite a bit, and we're sitting on the daily chart, we're sitting on the 200. QID was up 5.6% today. And again, look at these on the weekly, because that's where you're going to see where I really saw an opportunity for people to really win here. As you can see, QID, right, huge loser in 2017, but we're seeing this come to life in 2018. Here's that 50 RSI level. This is where I want to be in this trade. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not in QID. I'm in the SQQ, but QID, for those who don't want that much volatility, is another great trade for you. 12.88 a share, 5.6% gain today alone on a 2%, on a 6% move. Now here's the thing: you're not going to get that much volatility every day, right? You might get, as the market continues to go lower, you're going to get your 2, you're going to get your 3. That's why you can get an even higher leveraged product. Again, higher leverage comes with higher risk, because on a good day, right, where the market goes up or dip buyers take advantage of the cheap stocks that are available, these leveraged products are also going to lose big time as well. So leverage goes both ways, winning and losing. All right, so you got your QID, and then you got your super leveraged, which is that SQQQ. This is your 3x leverage product. This is what you would get in the morning, or you can hold for a short period of time, or some guys like to hold for multiple periods, multiple days, months or so. SQQ, which is a 3x. All right, so you can be able to get inside this and really help hedge against further swings in QQQ, and that's your 3x product. That's your 3x product. All right. It's all about compound gains. My account personally, especially after I slowed down significantly, pumping stocks, it's been predominantly compound gains. Compound gains. When I look at, when I started the show, my account from where it was then and where it is now, it's just been those base hits. 3% here, 4% here, 5% here. 1,000 there, 400 there, 500 there, 600 there over the last 2 years that I've been doing the show. And then most importantly, not taking money out my trading account, but continuing to reinvest in my positions. That's how I've been able to grow it over time. Let's keep it going. NOG, Northern Oil and Gas. Yeah, we had, I want to say it was Goldman Sachs come out today and talked about oil continuing to go higher. But it was interesting because if I remember correctly, the crude prices they said market was going to hit, the market, they're actually trading above it right now. I think they were putting up $60 oil or something, I think. And I want to say crude is actually above that level, if I'm correct. I might be wrong on that number too. All right, but crude is actually trading higher than what some of these investment banks expect crude to be trading at. CDMO, somebody bringing up CDMO up 13.7% today. All right. And again, some of these small caps, they're going to be stars. I mean, they're going to be stars. You're going to find that small cap that's going to do something like a V cell and it's going to continue to run throughout the bullshit. Right? It's going to do what AMD did in 2016. Right? When the market was sideways, but AMD took off. So you're going to find there's going to be that play. All right? There's going to be that play. You're going to have to find it. It's going to be a lot harder, but there are going to be those plays out there. But again, if you're not a stock picker, I think you take advantage of an inverse ETF that tracks a sector or an entire, or entire market, right? And you play a leveraged version of that. X has news, all right? X, yeah. Even with X, and honestly, I don't think even anything can save X. In fact, if you Google, I read this morning. China had the biggest export amount of steel hit last month. So they knew the situation was coming. Trump signed it, and they dumped a huge amount of steel in our ports last month. Google that if you're interested in X. Huge amount of steel that they dumped this past month. I mean, game changer. I mean, lower prices kind of size that they just unloaded in our ports, getting that in last minute before those tariffs get into place. All right. Gush. Somebody mentioned Gush. But today was a pretty devastating day for oil. I was bullish on oil. I wouldn't say bullish. I was slightly interested in oil last week. But the more I look at it, I don't know, man, because at the end of the day, we're still talking about a Middle East that's a mess. We're still talking about, one of the greatest oil producing countries like Libya, Iraq, still significantly under control of terrorists that are, selling oil at significant levels below market rate, right? That's how terrorists finance their operations. They sell oil in the Middle East, and they sell it below spot. So that is still out there. I think we're talking about a different situation now. I think 10 years, not even 10 years, maybe 20 years ago now, you'd probably be talking about higher oil prices with what we have going on. But, I don't know. And then we had a supply announcement last week that showed excessive supply of crude on the market. You can Google that. All right? Said drip is the inverse. I do believe so, sir. Yeah, drip is the bear version of oil and gas. And here's the thing, though. Drip, right? Maybe not my generation, maybe not your kids' generation, but maybe the kids after that, they're going to be all over drip, right? Because one day there will be the end of fossil fuels, right? So one day everybody's going to want, any bearish exposure to crude oil, all right? But that day isn't, today yet. It's coming. It's coming, but it's not now. But trust me, one day we're going to see, an ETF like drip. And it could very well continue to be drip. These ETFs, many of them have been trading, especially if you look at a QQQ or something, they've been trading since 03, 02. So they've been around 10 plus years. Why not another 20, 25, another 30, 35? Who knows? It could very well be drip, and we could see drip at a couple $100 a share. All right. If the dollar still exists, I don't know. We'd probably all be using yens the way we're spending money. All right, yuans. Excuse me. All right, Amazon's looking bearish. Baba's looking bearish. This is an opportunity. I say, am I going to buy Spotify? No, I'm not buying Spotify. I think Spotify looks good tomorrow when they go public. But, Spotify was in a situation where it was now or never, all right? They either were going to go public now, or they were going to come out in a worse economic situation if they waited any longer. So Spotify, I don't think is a long-term hold, irregardless of the fact that the company produced, $4 billion in revenue. Incredible company, incredible product, huge amount of users, right? I mean, almost 10 times Pandora. They believe I think it's 21 million. So, Spotify would be like Snap. I don't know if it's going to be like Snap, but I think it's going to struggle. I don't think they're coming out in a time that's conducive to success. How about that? And I don't know what their ticker is going to be. But when I look at, Dropbox, for example, look at Dropbox. Literally, tomorrow, probably going to test its, public price. I don't think that's the word for it, but, the price where it went public at. Testing its IPO price. That's the word. Its IPO price. So, and Dropbox, we kind of talked about this last week. We already know what it is. This is a stock that was very popular, for a company that was very popular 2012, 2011, before what was then called Google Briefcase, before cloud services really got inexpensive. Guys used Dropbox, right? Especially for those of you guys who were on MySpace. For anybody who was on MySpace or even Facebook at the beginning, or any kind of social media at that time, when you didn't have space for your pictures, you threw them on Dropbox. All right, you threw them on Dropbox, and which was really interesting because they sent out an email this weekend telling people, hey, we're going to delete your account in 30 days unless you reactivate. So that's their way of trying to manipulate user usage or get that user number up before they've got to submit earnings not too long from now. Many of you guys have probably got that email. I know I got that email. I'm not going to log in. I don't use it. But I would love to log back in and just kind of get those old pictures I still have up there. But we already know what Dropbox is. What's going on, Stock God? All right. Yeah, MySpace. And MySpace is still there, right? MySpace is still there. Somebody said somebody was going to go back to MySpace. That's hilarious. Anybody who deleted their Facebook account, you weren't using it to begin with. You weren't using it to begin with. 99% of people don't give a fuck about this situation happening with Facebook. They don't care. All right? They don't care. And all they want to do is watch their friends, contact their family and cousins and nephews. They really don't care. I think this is really about people who want to make sure that power is challenged, right? And I think that's kind of what it is. DSGT OTC stock up 69%. All right. Nice little swing there. All right. This is another one that you could have really, nice play over the last 2 weeks, as you can see here. OTC stock up 69% gain. You never know what's going to happen with these OTCs, though. One day they look good, and the next day they don't. Right? Yes, indeed. Said MySpace make a comeback. Hilarious. Yeah, right. Hilarious. That's hilarious. Never happening. He said Moco Space. All right. And going back to some of the big losers. Going back to some of the big losers for today. Some familiar names. We talk about Cali. Cali's interesting because that's another low float Chinese, very suspicious Chinese company that runs here and there. That guys do like to trade when it is running. SORL, another auto parts company, interestingly enough. But, you saw across the board companies that had access or had any kind of factory or manufacturing exposure to China. They sold off quite aggressively today. But I know SORL was also an earnings situation too. SORL, huge loss, by the way. And this was an interesting stock that ran in last year, November, pretty aggressively. But SORL losing today almost 23%. 23% off the value of the company there. SORL. You lose. Yeah, big loss there. Big loss there. Yeah, we talked AKER. MDEH. We talked AKER. All right, look at this OTC stock, MDEH. All right, MDEH. And Ken, man, that FUSZ, they reported 10,000. They reported $10,000 in cash, man. $10,560 in cash. This is a company that's got like a $320 million valuation right now. $320 million valuation, and they reported $10,000 in cash. This I don't know what kind of borrows that they are. I don't think there are any borrows of FUSC because I did try last week to take a small entry position because I figured it could go against me for a while. But FUSZ, there's this valuation, man. It's insane at these levels. Absolutely insane at these levels. I mean, even if we take property and equipment. I mean, $8,000 listed as other assets, property and equipment listed at $30,000. Valuations is just insane at this point. Oh, man, the 10K is horrible. It's horrible, 10K. Bill Betts, that's actually a good question. Why does somebody buy Spotify right now? Why do you buy Spotify right now? And what is the investment proposition of Spotify? Because I don't believe, if I'm correct, I don't believe, although the company makes money, I don't believe they're profitable. But then you can say the same thing about Amazon. Amazon's not profitable. Amazon, believe it or not, is not a profitable company. All right. But you got increasing revenues, substantially increasing revenues. That's where banks continue to want to lend them money because you figure they'll figure it out eventually. And that's kind of been the situation with them. But as we talked about earlier in the show, as we see, that TED rate continue to go higher, will Amazon continue to find lenders who are willing to continue it, to allow them to lend the kind of money they've been doing? All right. Especially with Donald Trump continue to breathe down their necks. Here's Amazon on the weekly. All right. Are we going to get to Amazon 790? I think that's a stretch. I think that's a stretch, but hitting the 200 is not out of the question. We've already lost almost $210 of value a share in Amazon since those 1,600 highs. So we've already lost about 200 plus a share in value. We've already lost 200 plus a share in value. And then just looking at that MACD, boy, that's quite a spread beneath those moving averages. That's a telling sign that this might not be over. All right. Absolutely. All right. OWVI. I'm watching the pressers here. I know the basketball game is on. I don't even know who's winning. I really don't care about none of those two teams. Michigan or Villanova, really could care less. All right. Let's see here. Why stock investors? Okay, yeah, but other than that, no news coming out overnight. All right. Huge sell-off on Amazon after the Trump went after that this weekend. Said Elon lost $14 billion. It's all on paper. It's all paper, man. You know, even those guys, they don't even watch it that aggressively. It's all on paper. You know. And you got to understand, as quickly as they lost it, they can get it quickly back. As quickly as they lost it, they can get it as quickly back. You know, if you read some articles about Warren Buffett and talks about how during, 07 through 09, Warren Buffett lost significant billions of dollars. You know, his Geico operations, his, many of his publicly traded companies lost significant amount of value. And look where he is now. So, these guys, they suffer, those paper losses, but, you got a great business, got a great company over a period of time. You can't feel sorry for these people. You can't feel sorry for these people at all. So Elon Musk lost $14 billion. Okay, that's fine, but he's going to put out this truck. And if that truck does everything they say it's going to do, it's going to be an incredible seller. It's going to be an incredible seller. It's going to be all over the road. And the guy will be sitting, pretty again with even more money that we're going to forget about whatever he lost today or over the last week and a half. It doesn't even matter. All right. Oh, absolutely, Succeeder. I was all over it. This is my time. This is really where I win as a trader when stocks really start to struggle. Love these kind of markets. And these are the time of markets anybody, if you don't have a lot of cash, this is the opportunity now. You buy some of these beat up inverse stocks, buy some of these dirt cheap, puts that are cheap now but are going to be expensive. These puts that are, a month out, 2 months out, 3 months out that are, $7, $8, $9 out the money that you need to be jumping on right now because they're going to be expensive, that you can grab now while they're still relatively inexpensive, although they're gaining in value. You saw in a lot of those Amazons or PayPals, whatever, look up any stock today, and you look on the put side, you look out $5 to $10 out the money, all of them increased in value. All of them increased in value. A month out, 2 months out, 3 months out, year out, all increased in value. Guys are taking the opportunity now to buy those puts, and they're going to continue to increase in value as long as we continue to see this kind of price action. And I think, again, as I said earlier, tomorrow you see some dip buying in the morning. You probably might get a nice little dip, or you get sellers overwhelming buyers. You get sellers overwhelming buyers. Bill Betts, you said you'll be mad when those puts go up. Well, look, we talked about that last week when we talked about how, the real estate ETFs were telling people it was time to sell, last week. If we go back to the weekly, 200 moving average, they had already began selling off significantly. All right. And it's only going to get worse for real estate, as we announced today was lowest level of mall. Let me see here. Lowest mall me see here. Because I think what was the word for it? I don't want to say the word for it. Yeah, mall vacancies reach 6-year high. Mall vacancies reach a 6-year high. Let me see. Is there a free story available? You know, the Wall Street Journal wants you to pay. Let me see if there's. All right, yeah. Reported vacancy rates at large malls around the country hit 8.4%. It's the highest level of vacancy since the fourth quarter of 2012. Since 2012. The vacancies are due to a large part to a consumer shift in online shopping. Department stores and retailers have been forced to shutter stores and have gone under as new shopping patterns develop among American consumers. All right? Damn, y'all love Amazon that much. I can't lie, I do too. No reason really to go to the mall like that. You know. But sometimes you do got to get out, especially when you want to see them bubbles, you know. You kind of do have to get out the house. And speaking about getting out the house, I saw this movie. I keep calling him Jason Bourne. I know his real name, but I call him Jason Bourne. And Jason Bourne was playing this character where he gets shrunk. They shrink him. And he's like living in this like society of like shrinking people and shit like that. And it just, this whole movie, that movie, and then they had that Asian character that just looked racist as fuck. Like the way they was making her talk and shit like that. Because I know Thai people, and Thai people don't talk that animated, you know. What was it called? Like downsizing or some shit like that. And the character, they eventually have sex, right? And the way they're making her talk with these like exaggerated, you wanna fuck me? We fuck to me? You gonna fuck tonight? You wanna fuck me? Wait. I'm like, why are they making this lady talk like that? You know? You got to see this movie. I'm just like I'm like, dude, this movie's racist as fuck. It's like, it's Matt Damon. Is it Matt Damon? Yeah, Matt Damon is. I just call him Jason Bourne. And Matt Damon is his real name. But you gotta see this movie. The way they're making this woman talk throughout the whole movie. It's just on some real clownish just. And I already saw some articles where some Asian writers saying, oh, stereotypical Asian character and all that stuff like that. Because this is like, man, this is racist as fuck. You know, interesting storyline, but just, you know, what the fuck was that? Who came up with that idea? Yeah, I just call him Jason Bourne, dude. You know. You said Asians speak like that? Matthew, you're in Japan? You wanna fuck me? We know the fuck. I love the fuck. You have to make love to me. I like it. You wanna touch my ass? I was just like, man. And then she was making these like wild ass facial expressions, like her jaw was like wide open, motherfucker. Like when she was talking, like, damn. How many takes? Shit. I'm just saying, dude, like, shit. I also saw that what's that movie with the robots and shit? Pacific Rim. I was okay, man. The story, you know, I hate, you know, when they take too long to develop, man. We already understand the background, but they was really trying to, you know, give this brother, his whole damn storyline and stuff. And I just call him the pussy from Star Wars, because Ray! You guys, because they were mad. Remember, when he was announced, everybody hated him, because they didn't want a black Starship Trooper, right? Or a black Stormtrooper. But when they found out he was going to be a pussy-ass bitch, nobody complained about it. It was like, oh, okay, he's not going to be the hero, so, I guess it's not that too big of a deal. The whole damn movie in Star Wars, that Ray! Like, come on, man, what are you doing? That's his whole act in the movie, bro. Come on, man, you part of the, you're a stormtrooper. You supposed to be badass, dude. Yeah, I still don't like the way people die in Star Wars, though. I don't, because like Star Wars, they just introduce characters out of nowhere. Like they'll just introduce random characters, like pilots out of nowhere, and for 2 seconds, Roger that, we're off to go. Okay, what the fuck just happened? Like, what the fuck just happened? Like, where did that guy just come from? Like his life was just like 20 seconds screen time. That's Star Wars for you right there, man. Maybe I analyze these fucking movies too much, bro, but when I enjoy my weekends. You spend the week trying to find the opportunity to make some money on the markets, then you try to kind of lose yourself in these movies. And then they're just so fucking ridiculous. You just can't help but yourself a laugh, dude. Like, it's just fucking hilarious, man. You said that fucking actor made $50K. I doubt it. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. I had a friend go out to California. You said they were paying, guys who just stood around in the background like $350 just for showing up sometimes. You spend the whole day, they'll pay you a couple $100. You dress up in different shit. I knew a sister who was living in Atlanta, and she was, well, not somewhere out there in the outskirts of Georgia, but The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead pays people to act like zombies and shit. Yeah. So there's money. There's money in that, just kind of standing around. Yeah, I wouldn't mind being a zombie in The Walking Dead, though. I wouldn't mind being a zombie. I try to do something where I can, like, stand out. At least try not to get noticed, but maybe something where I can, like, replay it and show people, like, yeah, I'm the guy back there, grabbing his balls or something, Something where I could be able to stand out somehow. So she actually grew up in... Yeah, I had posted this on Twitter, too, before I forget. Man, I noticed when I post pictures of my articles, like when I make articles on my website and I put a picture of like a chick with like really big tits or something like that, I get a whole lot of posts. And guys, like, because Google Analytics, which is where my blog is signed up into, it can tell me how long guys are sitting on that page. So when I post a picture with my article, it gets the click. You get the click on Twitter or StockTwits. They go to my article and they sit on that page for at least like 3 to 5 minutes if it's a chick with like really big tits. But if I just use some regular girl or maybe a guy, in that sector, like a hard hat or some shit like that, I barely get any clicks. And then the amount of time that guys sit and read the article is very short. So I'm going to just start posting when I post my articles on Twitter And I'm sorry to say this, ladies, but I'm not going to pull bare-breasted, right? I'm not going to put just some bare-ass breasts. But it's going to be, somewhat provocative. Not overly. But, I mean, I got to get my articles out there, man. I got to get my articles out there, man, because motherfuckers just clicking on titties. You said the ball biting zombie. Yeah. You said bare breasts. Yeah, man. That's shit. Because people don't click unless you put a hot chick on it. Like, even when I look at some of my old videos, like, guys are clicking on, I have this one video where it's, what's that name of that porn star? The chick with the, black chick with the big tits. Man, I forgot it because there are like a million of them. God, she's like the biggest one now. I know somebody here knows what I'm talking about. What's her name? She's like the top of the game now. All right. I forgot her name. But anyway, I'm using her on one of my pictures. One of my what's the word for it? But on where you see the video, like episode blah blah blah. And that one gets a shitload of clicks, dude. That gets a fucking shitload of clicks every week. It gets at least like 100 or 200 clicks where guys are just clicking because they see a pair of jugs. They see a pair of jugs and then they're clicking on the fucking video. It's crazy. You said the best video, get angry video? Appreciate you, Atlan. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, it's all clickbait. It's all clickbait. But at the end of the day, it's just about getting the word out. You know what I mean? Because, sometimes, guys got to get motivated in a different kind of way. You know what I mean? He was intent to beat his meat, but then he ended up on one of my videos and like, oh shit, you know what? My money is kind of fucked up. Why don't I get my money right? So I don't have to beat my meat and I'll be able to afford a quality girl. So, I'll be able to take her out and afford to do things so I don't have to beat my meat. So sometimes you got to siphon guys in, in an unfortunate way to lead them to hopefully a fortunate path. That's the way I'm trying to look at it. So I'm not trying to say that I'm trolling, but technically I am. But I think that's good. He said even GoDaddy. Yeah, GoDaddy for years. GoDaddy was just using women with big jugs to sell domains. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah, man. Yeah, TVIX. I'm watching TVIX very closely tomorrow. Like I said, TVIX tomorrow. If I see TVIX, right now, it's going to get adjusted, and we're going to be, TVIX. You don't want to hold TVIX overnight above 1150. You don't want to hold it overnight above 1150. TVIX overnight below 950, that's a buy and hold all day. I mean, I'd take TVIX 950 all in any day. I'll take that any day because I can turn around and sell that at 1015, 1020, 1025. You're going to get that all day. But 1150, 11, then you're playing with fire because if you look at, recently, you try to find out, okay, if you want to hold TVIX overnight, how many times has it closed at these levels over the last, several months, right? So, and when we're talking about some of these nines, it's happened quite a bit. So I don't figure that over at least the short term, we're going to get nines again, right? That we'll probably get some nines over the last several days. We'll probably hit 9 again. But 11, 1150, 12. I'm sure there's a guy out there holding some 12 VIX. Could we get back to saving you? Maybe. But you might have to wait. TVIX is a great opportunity to go back in and out, in and out, in and out. But you really got to, aim for low 9s, low 10s. Low 9s, low 10s. Low 9s, low 10s. Those are great swing trade opportunities, great intraday opportunities to make some good money too. Yeah. You said VIX dropped to 990. Yeah, it was a great trade at 990. Great trade. Me and Bill Betts were just going back and forth on TVIX all day. He was hitting me up, and I got a huge position last Thursday on TVIX. Huge position. Great trade. Yeah, TVIX got to as high as, what was the high? 1206 today. 1206 today. And I miss, because I know there were some other VIX with even, I think it was like UVX or UVX. I think it was UVX or something. One that just got recently delisted. That was 3 times leveraged. They ended up having to get away with it because so many guys lost on the trade. They ended up getting rid of it. But TVIX is definitely here to stay. And of course, you can pay, UVXY. You can play UVXY, but I think UVXY, is that also 2x? I want to say that could be as well 2x leveraged. But this one is just more expensive, and you can play it, but why not just play TVIX and buy more per shares? All right, so you maximize your funds a little bit better on TVIX than UVXY. But they trade, virtually the same, just kind of different levels. All right. And in fact, I probably want to say UVXY could be leveraged even more. UVXY. Where is that? Let me see here. UVXY. I want to see how is that. What's the leverage on UVXY? Because it's trading like a 3x leveraged product. I mean, with that 14% gain today, I think I want to say it's 2x leveraged. It's a very similar move to what TVIX did today, right? TVIX was, I think, 18 or 18%. Okay, 18% by the end of the day. Yeah. Okay, UVXY is 1.5. All right, 1.5 leveraged. 1.5 leveraged. And TVIX is straight 2.0. 2 times leveraged. 1.5 leveraged product. All right, QQQ goes down, TVIX goes up. Absolutely. That's exactly how that works. All right. That's exactly how that works. Google HR 5404. What is that? HR 5404. You can just tell us what it is. To define the dollar as fixed rate of gold. That'll never pass. That won't pass. We don't have enough gold. America doesn't own enough gold to back every dollar that we produce. See, Peter Schiff has already been telling us that for years. Peter Schiff, and you can go back to, what's the name of the guy who ran for president? 2004, the doctor, former congressman now. His son is in Congress. I'm not good with names. He was telling us that America's bankrupt. He's been telling us that for goddamn 15 years now. That America doesn't have the money. So, in fact, I got a good article out today that I posted about how to play, the end of the U.S. dollar. Really the end of the petrodollar. Because if you remember in the 1970s, during the oil crisis, that's when countries all around the world said, oh, shit, Currency valuations were all over the place. Nations decide, okay, you know what? We'll just start selling our crude in U.S. dollars because U.S. dollar was the stable currency during that time. All right, during that time. So that was the creation of what's called the petrodollar. Recently, China, I want to say it was this last week, and I got the link again on my website. Just posted it on my Twitter. China opened a new challenge to the petrodollar. And let me see here. Which is, let me see here. Let's see, where's crude at? 63, 63.14 is where crude is right now. So they announced their first challenge to that petrodollar, which is the ability to buy oil contracts priced in yuan. Priced in yuan. This is the first that's ever happened. You got to understand this. The only country to ever attempt to possibly do something like this was Muammar Gaddafi's Libya. Libya came out and said that they were interested in selling their crude in gold. So if you wanted to buy Libyan crude, you were going to have to give them gold for their oil. And he was trying to go across the continent of Africa to get other countries to sell their resources also in gold. Right? Now we know what happened to Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. All right? The Obama and the banksters that he works for, because we know Obama was a figurehead. He was a clown. There was no intent purpose for Obama but to, work on behest of the bankers. He destroyed Libya, and that was put on the table. So now we see China. That's not going to happen to China. Now with a real threat to the petrodollar. This is real. I mean, and by the way, this is a product that you have access to. Now, here's the thing. You got to go through Interactive Brokers, because the Interactive Brokers gives you access to the Chinese markets. I don't know of any other broker that does, but Interactive Brokers allows you to buy this futures contract. All right. Interactive Brokers allows you to buy this futures product. But I know it's a couple thousand, though. It's a couple thousand. Yeah. Right? Interesting shit. So that's very telling, folks. You're going to have to be aware of that. And again, if you want to play the end of the dollar, go to my website, advancedequityresearch.com. And you can find that as we see the U.S. dollar making new lows against the Chinese yuan. We're hitting 2-year lows, by the way. We're hitting 2-year lows. Here's the U.S. dollar China, U.S. dollar Chinese yuan. Here's the 2015 price. All right, this is 3-year lows. And here's where we are now. All right, slight bounce today. But as you can see here, we've been losing value against the Chinese yuan. All right, we've been losing value against the Chinese yuan, really, just close to cracking what will eventually be a 3-year low. A 3-year low. And here's the weekly chart. You see it a lot better on the weekly chart as we continue to see new lows showing up there. Every week we're losing against the Chinese yuan. All right, because they're buying our debt. They're buying our debt. And we're just continuing to print money. But you can also, now here's the thing though, this isn't a leveraged product. UDN, Power Shares Bearish US Dollar Index. Now here's the thing about this one. You're not going to get, the insane gains. It doesn't have crazy volume. This is more or less, if you're a guy with significant amount of wealth and, you're willing to park it aside for quite a bit of time, then you sit in something like this. And it's been pretty well since the beginning of 2017. And it's kind of, again, this is one of those things where you're going to have to really, you got to be out here for a long period of time. But there are more bullish ways to play the end of the dollar. Preferably, there's some other, let me see here. For example, I think I gave you already some bullish gold plays. I gave you some bullish gold plays. Also gave you some plays like, I want to say, what's that? Yang is another one. Yang, as you can see here, this is the Chinese bear, right? Bear ETF. China's also getting the brunt of our tariff situation. So on an equity side, you can play that, but on the Forex side, I know they also have, I want to say China also has, I'm going to do some research on that, but I believe China also has some Forex ETFs in regards to their currency. I'm going to do some research on that tonight, and if I find it, I'll write an article and post that a little later. So why don't I like Obama? Because Obama is a whole, I can go on and on about Obama. I don't want to make it a political show, but I'm not a fan of him. Obama did nothing significant over 8 years. Really did absolutely nothing significant for the people that voted for him at the percentages they did, the people who went out into their communities and got people to vote and raised money and prayed for him. He did absolutely nothing for them. Absolutely nothing for them. And that's what it is. All right. Said he racked up a bunch of debt. Well, he didn't rack up anywhere near as much debt as Trump is doing right now. Trump is on pace to rack up more than 5 times. Do research on 5 times what Obama did. All right. So the debt that Obama did was nothing. It was peanuts in comparison to where we're going to end up by the end of the 4 years of Trump, because Trump is a nationalist who spends like a Democrat. So, in fact, if you look at the Obama administration, it was actually pretty fiscally conservative to a certain extent, because he really didn't have an infrastructure plan. Obama really didn't have an infrastructure plan. Obama was really more about social services. He wasn't really about getting money out to building bridges and airports, and he really didn't do none of that. He really didn't do any of that. All right, so let's get back to some of these. What do you guys like for tomorrow? What do you guys like for tomorrow? Again, I'm not doing any guessing. Some of the shorts that I have, I'm watching. Infn, a bullshit IT services company. I'm watching this one. This is the weekly chart. It's heavily overextended. I'm hoping for a big break lower eventually in Infn. So we had a decent red day today, but I think, let's see a nice little red, huge Marubatsu red sell-off signal in Infn candlestick is what I would really love. So as you can see here, this is divergence, right? So we're seeing RSI, MACD, right? So, but we haven't seen that yet really show up in the chart as an aggressive sell-off candlestick. So we're going to see that soon in Infn. And I have no doubt either this week or next week, I'm going to be bringing you back this stock down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%. All right. It's a company that loses a lot of cash, had a decent earnings, but the company's buying stock. And I think, they're going to get overwhelmed with selling pressure eventually as the market continues to sell off. All right. So I'm watching that one. All right. I'm watching that one very closely. Of course, SLS, we all saw what that did today. This has got a lot of meat on that bone. All right. That's got a lot of meat on that bone, SLS. RKDA, This is another one that I thought I'd be able to get a lot more shares on Thursday. I wasn't able to do so. I still think there's some meat on this. Right? This stock did incredibly huge numbers with the news about the Monsanto situation. But I think you still have almost $7 to $8 that this could continue to sell off and lose. But you got to have enough shares to where the trade makes sense. RKDA, that's another great shorting opportunity for you. All right. What else did I have on my list? RKDA, not that one. Yeah, and I think those are really the only ones that. And again, of course, I'm buying. I mentioned last week. I mentioned this last week. I'm also heavy in the semiconductors. I mentioned this last week. SOXS put an article out on this one. Semiconductors, look, 10 years from now, right, they'll all be trading at significant valuations. But at least in the short term, many of these stocks are going to sell off. And SOXS is a great leveraged, 3x leveraged product that's been a huge home run over the last couple of days. 11% gain today alone. And I think over the short term, you win big time on SOXS. 11% gain today. That was a beautiful gain. And I'm going to be holding on to this at least for a couple more weeks. SOXS. SOXS. All right. And you can check out my website, advancedequityresearch.com, for more other ETF products that you can trade right now. All right. All right, for those of you guys who don't want to take advantage of the single stock risk. OREX, 62% gain today. 62% gain today. Let's go to the daily. All right. Let's see how that traded out on the 5-minute. All right. So this looks like it was just kind of like a one and done first couple minutes of the day kind of thing. And again, I hate these trades because they're such asshole trades. I mean, I know so many guys lose money on these kind of trades. You don't hear about it because I understand guys don't want to talk about their losses, and who wants to dwell on them. But I hate trades like this, where it's just all the meat and potatoes was at the beginning, right? First 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right? And the rest of the day it was just ass. Orex filing for bankruptcy. All right. Obesity drug maker just made a comeback while another declared bankruptcy. Okay. Orex so it's up 62% on the bankruptcy filing. That's hilarious. Do I have the Tim Sykes DVDs, how to read? Yeah, I got all that, but unfortunately, man, can't put it out there, bro. Can't put it out there. Unfortunately, Andrew. Got all that, though. CCJ. We're at 1.65%. Uranium play 1.65%. Yeah, watch commodities carefully. Watch commodities very carefully, man. Gold in particular, I think, silver is booty. Silver is just kind of one of those things where I feel like it just does its own thing, man. Silver is just kind of one of those, it just feels like it has no, I can understand if it was just behind gold, maybe traded 1% or 2%, but it just is as if it does its completely own thing. When I look at commodity-based ETFs, agriculture is one that I wanted to pay close attention to, but the volume just isn't there for many of these. When we talk about agriculture, right? I mean, look at it. You can see how on an intraday basis, it's just not there. And these ETFs are going to get hit hard. Any agriculture play, particularly when you're talking about some of these stocks or some of these agriculture plays that are going to be hit with these tariffs that have been placed by China. Maybe if you look at their individual stocks and you want to short, but I know, I didn't see any inverse agriculture plays that I know of. Actually, hold on. Yeah, but see, there's no volume. There's no volume. Look at that. This is the agriculture double short ETN. All right, and ETN is exchange traded note. It's just trading debt. That's basically what it is. All right, as you can see here, this debt is due April 1st, 2038. So this is going to be here for a while. And you see, there's just no volume. And as you can see here, it's losing volume. 29 down 9% today, down 9%, but only 500 shares traded all day. So, you're just not going to find any volume. ADZ. All right, this is another one. ETN down 4%, but as you can see here, barely any volume. 300. You're just not going to find it. Just not going to find any volume. All right. U.S. agriculture. This is the U.S. Agriculture Index Fund. All right. Losing value. But again, very little volume. So agriculture, interesting play. I think maybe if you're interested in agriculture, you could probably play the chemical side. That's probably another way to play it with Monsanto and them. MONT, right? I think it's Monsanto. I think I'm gonna say it's MO. Yeah, it's MON. Oh, not even a dent today. Not even a dent. I'm surprised. But you figure, look, if these. In fact, the fact that, very suspicious there. It should have taken a hit today. I'll be watching that one. How can there be $1 puts on Orex when it's already below $1? Oh, well, guys may want to buy that. They may want to buy that, and they might. And there's somebody selling. Somebody's selling that. All right. But I don't know. You wouldn't want to buy the liquidity, on something like that, Bill Betts. When it comes to options, you really want to pay attention to liquidity too, because sometimes it's very easy to buy, but you got to understand that there's somebody out there that's going to want to buy your put when you're ready to sell it. If you don't have a buyer, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up having to sell at a significant loss or at very little profit of what you probably could get, if it was more liquid. If it was more liquid. All right, so a few more tickets before we get out of here. Global net lease. This is going to be a really interesting week, man. Last week we said it was really interesting, and now it's set us up, man. I think we're here, man. This is the bull market, man. This is the bear market. Excuse me, the bull market. This is the bear market. I hope anyway. I'm hoping. Now I want to see real estate fall apart. I want to see real estate fall apart. I want to see some of these home prices come down to, 07, 08 levels. I want to see, real deals again. Because a reset is always good. It's always good. GNL, Global Net Lease. All right, Global Net Lease. Small cap. Well, no, actually got $1 billion valuation. GNL. All right. Absolutely. What's going on, Bats? All right. Hey, Bats, I love what you think about what's going on in the market right now, man. Sometimes I've been thinking like, man, I wonder what Bats, how he would have traded this market. Just when things start really getting interesting, and unfortunately, you've got to, trade on a monthly basis because this is crazy right now. But I'm kind of loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving the way this market is trading right now. But, those days where guys were just buy and hold and all that other bullshit and, nah, man, you're gonna have to get active now. You're going to have to get active now. You're going to have to do some work. LDSI. Life Design. OTC stock. All right, you calling in? 919 Bats, what's up, man?
Hey Sal, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, good question you have for me. It's terrible for me, man. I know for you, for probably you and maybe stock or people who are comfortable shorting, this has been a ride. I mean, you guys are probably doing really well, but for my style of trading, I normally am bullish on stocks, and the fact that you just mentioned now that I have to hold it for 30 days, it's killing me. It's killing me, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the creativity that I need, even for my earning strategy, I've realized that I can't even really do that effectively because you notice like some of the stocks only probably start turning around because we've been bearish over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Some of the stocks only start turning around with a month left or 2 weeks left or 1 week left into earnings. And as long as it's less than 30 days before earnings and I'm trying to use my strategy, I can't do it because I have to hold on to the stock. So the only thing I can do, apart from obviously, shorting, I think I'm not allowed to short directly, but I can do put options. That might be my best bet. And in a market like this, for you, you're killing it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, doing very well. Doing very well.
Yeah.
I mean, Roku's one that I've talked about, and me and you, Bats, we've talked about Roku. I'm telling you right now, we're gonna go Roku all the way down to 18. I'm gonna call that right now. Those of you guys, you got some money laying around, you might as well just go ahead and buy some in the money puts on Roku right now. This one's going lower, so there are quite a few plays out there you can participate in. And not really miss out on this downside slide.
Yeah, but the only disadvantage, and this is where for me it sucks, because even if I pick the right stock, it goes up. If it goes up on that day or in the next couple of days or in the next week, I can't freaking sell it. So what's happened to me, I think a few weeks ago I mentioned, or actually more than a month ago, I went into EGO, which was a gold Canadian stock, got in at $1.13. After about a week or 2 weeks, I was up $500-600, which is normally where I like to think about getting out. I couldn't do it because it wasn't 30 days. After the 30 days now, the stock was already down, and I'm basically bag holding. I think it's like at 83 cents, and I'm holding on to it. And it's so frustrating for me because if you have the option of selling and cashing out, I'm not really that greedy when it comes to making gains. If I make 10, 15, 20%, I'm normally out. And I can't do that with the way I used to trade or with the way most of everyone on this forum can trade. So being forced to have to hold a stock for 30 days now means I basically have to, even like I think you would talk about lottery tickets for OTCs. That's probably one of my other options that I could go to, is find a popularly traded stock that's in the dumps. I did get into hemp like HEMP a few months ago, but unlike the other stocks, hemp doesn't seem to hold its gains. So even though I was up last week, look at it today, it kind of always drops down to to 2 cents or 0.002, wherever that price point is. So I'm having to just hold on to that, and then just praying that all the other stocks that I've had for more than a month, I'll be able to sell those soon. But yeah, you're right. For me, it's a struggle, and this is where, you have to put on your thinking cap again and try and strategize. I've never actually shorted or, gone for put options, but I might actually need to start strongly thinking about that, because I feel more comfortable going long, and that's what I predominantly do. But in a market like this, you've got to know how to short or buy put options. And I think maybe put options for me might be the way to go. But then again, I have the restriction in that I have to hold the stock for 30 days. So it's either I divorce my wife and start trading as usual, or someone said to me today, if I wanted to trade and trading was everything to me, you find a way to make it happen. So whether that means I open an account in someone else's name and then actually do the trades myself, even though technically that's not allowed, but if it gets to that point, I will make a plan and make it happen.
Yeah, well, we don't want to see anybody divorced, so I don't think it's worth trading.
Well, that's funny, right? Instead of people saying to you, well, can your wife go for another job? Everyone's been saying, well, can you get a divorce? And I'm like, that's a bit severe.
You know what, though, but dude, guys would do it to get, look, if she's down with it, then as long
It's crazy. I mean, people's first solution is the worst solution. And I'm like, isn't that a bit extreme? Why don't you just say, encourage your wife to find another similar job where you won't be subject to this? And every person who's given me a suggestion has been, why don't you divorce your wife? Which I think it's just so that I can trade. That's hilarious. But yeah, you're right. For me, I know you were thinking of me through this market, and you're right. It's really hasn't been very good for me right now. And, I get in and out of my enthusiasm now is like in the dumps, because even if I get into a stock today, I know that regardless of if it goes in my favor, I have to hold it for 30 days now. After 30 days, is it still going to be up? So I don't know, man. It's tough, but, I keep posting, watch lists and stuff. I get people hitting me up, hey, what do you think about this day trade? And I have to pretend to be excited because obviously I'd like to be part of the day trade. I had one guy, who I'll share his name secretly. I'll DM you. Okay. And he's like, well, I notice you don't like my messages anymore. And he's known for accuracy and putting pre-market watch lists. And I said, sorry, forgive me. I still follow you, but when you're talking about day trades, I'm sorry I don't have enthusiasm for that because I can't get involved in day trades. So while I'd like to follow and, I constantly paper trade, I'm looking at the VWAP and saying that's a good I just can't trade it. And maybe for me it's my fault because I'm too by the book. Being a scientist, I like to follow regulations, but maybe I need to be a maverick now and just, if I have a friend, have him open the account in his name and then I can trade from there. I'm telling you, I just have to get creative because in a market like this, there's no freaking way. No one has a fortune, I'm not a fortune teller to say, a month from now, the stock will be up. So let me pick to go in right at this moment. So exactly 30 days later, the stock is up. So it's frustrating, but, so I'll always watch the show and contribute, but it's definitely not the same anymore. But I appreciate you at least worrying about, hey, how's Bats doing? Is he going to get a divorce or not? But I appreciate it, Sal, and I'll continue. You know, my tweets may be a little less right now, or I might just be giving swing trades because that's all I can do. But I appreciate everything, and it's going to take a lot for me to stop trading altogether. But, you know, I'm going through peaks and troughs in terms of my enthusiasm. But I appreciate everything, sir.
Appreciate it, Bats. Thank you, man.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to Bad Scientist. Man, how much y'all want to bet Bats has probably Googled that, you know, how to divorce your wife? He's probably Googled it. You know, shout out to Bats. He's gonna figure it out. He's gonna figure out a way. And I actually like that idea of setting up an account under somebody else and having him trade. I mean, he can very well do that, you know. And Bats, you know, you can set up an account for a minor, you know, and let me know. I don't know if that would work. If you trade under if they worked under a minor, could they do that? I don't know. Interesting stuff. I guess it would be better if it's just an adult, you know, with a different name and everything. All right? Yes, indeed. Absolutely. All right? Because his wife works at a financial institution, J.P. Morgan, and they're very sensitive about that, especially, you know, insider trading, because she may work in the department where she may be able to get information that the public can't get, and that could put an incredible amount of liability on J.P. Morgan and under the, you know, people who do business with them and other employees. So that's kind of why they have rules like that. All right, guys. I showed you guys, and again, that's a ticker from my website. Somebody talks about DSGT. We looked at DSGT earlier. OTC stock that's running. All right, OTC stock that's running. Up 69% today. All right, do your own due diligence. SRTY. Ultra Pro Short Russell 2000. Small cap stocks in the Russell 2000. If you remember, they got the huge run on IWM, which is when Trump signed the tax plan. All right. Tax plan. This was that run right here. But, you know, there's been pretty much a loser ever since. And I think it's going significantly lower. So some guys talking about buying puts. You might want to look at IWM puts. Because under this tariff and under a credit crisis where banks are starting to get pretty tight with money, small cap, you know, companies that really live on credit, because a lot of them don't have too much cash on hand. They live on their financing, because that's why they're small cap companies. And IWM, buying some in the money IWM here. Or even a little bit out the money. Maybe some even those 145s, 146s could be a nice call for you over a period of time. In fact, if you look at the weeklies, you know, very, very telling on IWM. You see here now below 450 on the RSI. MACD crossover. Still got a ways to go here on that weekly. So that's why I'm looking at IWM. But again, if you don't want to play the calls, you don't want to play shorts, what I just told you, the ETFs, SRTY, that's where you go ahead and buy, you know, one of these leveraged ETFs. And I don't think actually this one is leveraged. Actually, it is leveraged, 2x. This is a 2x leveraged. Actually, no, shit, it's a 3x leveraged product. My bad. SRTY is a 3x leveraged product. So you get 3 times the move, you know, from IWM, 3 times the move, 7.7% move today, SRTY higher. Here's the weekly, crossing that 50, right? So as IWM crosses below it, SRTY crosses above it. So now we're seeing SRTY going higher. And again, 7% move today. That could have been yours if you were invested in SRTY. But there is a non-leveraged product, which is RWM. So RWM is the direct one-to-one inverse of IWM. All right, RWM is that inverse. And again, that's on my website, Advanced Equity Research. So you want to know how to short the Russell 2000 index. Look at that article on my website. All right. Hope you guys got some great information today on the show. Again, ladies and gentlemen, watch some Peter Schiff. Continue to watch the markets. Be diligent. Be smart right now. Be smart right now. Don't go out and run and buy calls. Look, the market is selling off. Look at your moving averages. Don't take any unnecessary risk. This is not where you want to be losing money when money right now could be easily gained if you just make the right choices and trade with the market right now. All right, we're going through an interesting time here where people are questioning valuations. Economic, progress is slowing. GDP has already been revised now this year 2 times. So, we're possibly, going to be doing it again. Read up on that. Google that information up. Look up the Fed spread or the TED spread, which is the difference between Treasury bills and the LIBOR. Read about how that, those difference in rates have been really spreading and getting wide. And when that gets wide, that means liquidity and the banking in banking and finance, that means liquidity is disappearing and money is becoming harder and harder to get. And that could be a telling sign of a bearish momentum entering the equity markets. All right. So let me go ahead and get up out of here. Show goes quickly as always. But again, another enjoyable episode. I had a good time. We are here for the bear markets and the bull markets. We've watched over the last 2 years the markets go, to some incredible levels. And, some of them could have been taken advantage of more than others. But this one, I'm please believe it, I'm not going to miss out on. I refuse to miss out on what could be the beginning of a very, very perilous time, for the stock market. All right. And what better man to be handed with the responsibility of overseeing the greatest sell-off in equities in U.S. history than Donald Trump. Give it up for that man. Can I get a round of applause? Can I get a round of applause? Where's my round of applause? Do I have a round of applause? Give a round of applause. Yeah, let's give it up for him. And I hope he wins that award. I hope he wins that award. And we forget all about 2017. Yes, indeed. Monk Luigi, Gucci, Jeff, appreciate you. Stockerfella, Brendan Smith, One Mark DC, Corey Kwan, JT the Bullhead Trader. Again, I'm not being biased. I don't like any of them. It's all bullshit. I appreciate all of you guys. Who else was in here? We already know Joe Scott. Appreciate you, man. Eban R. Shirley Lewis. Ricardo Joseph. Kayak Z. Andrew Gladness. DPG. All my callers. Jeff. Bats. Redneck Trader. Art Lord. Ram and Corey Kwan. Succeeder 82. All of you guys, man. Bill Betts. Appreciate all of you guys. We'll be back. Same time, same place tomorrow Hopefully more red, but I'm thinking dip buyers come in tomorrow, at least in the AM. Dip buyers come in tomorrow. But if I'm you, I'd stay short. Take care, everyone. Until next time, happy trading.